A frightened ride on the school bus headed for Wilson Middle School this morning. A lighted flare was either fired or thrown into the bus. Now police are looking for suspects. Joy Pop has our story.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg school bus 875 doesn't appear damaged, but inside police say heat from a flare burned a seat and the floor. Police also say at least one student was hurt with a cut on the leg from the broken glass. All of this happened as the bus traveled Marlowe Avenue around 7:45 this morning. Police are looking for two teenagers believed to be responsible for either firing or throwing the hot flare that shattered a bus window.
They ain't got no sense, I know that.
Parents and residents are upset in the West Charlotte neighborhood.
That's bad because kids on that bus. You know, I have a little 6-year-old, and if that was my baby bus, I'll tell you, I'd flip.
Another woman did not know what had happened until she talked with two of the students who were on the bus.
I asked them if it cut in school. They said no, that the school bus had got shot at around the curve.
So they were waiting for another bus?
Mm-hmm.
Did they say if there were any students hurt?
No, they didn't say.
The damaged bus was taken to the school system's Wilkinson Boulevard garage and repaired before being put back into service. Police are taking this matter very seriously. If you can help authorities, you're asked to call police or 911. If caught, the teenagers could be charged with shooting into an occupied vehicle. Reporting from West Charlotte, Joey Pop, 6 News.
A manhunt is underway at this very moment along the Union-Mecklenburg County line. Police are looking for an armed robbery suspect. The robbery happened this morning in Monroe, but authorities are combing the Weddington area. 6 News reporter Joey Pop is there live where the story is unfolding. Joey?
Alan, that's right, at this current hour. Now, mid-morning, police agencies from Union and Mecklenburg counties have been working together. Around 2 o'clock this afternoon, they thought they had the suspect in this vicinity, but he got away. Monroe police say shortly before 9 this morning, 2 gunmen drove up to this convenience store. One got out and robbed it. They then took off, and soon police were in hot pursuit of their car. While one man jumped out, the driver continued. He later was arrested, but his partner ran into the woods.
Did y'all see him? Yeah.
Mid-morning, a full manhunt was underway. Around noon, this was the scene on Highway 84 here in Weddington. Police set up checkpoints, questioning motorists and checking out their cars.
I told him I live in these woods right back here in a little white house, so keep an eye out for me, and he said, okay.
He checked your trunk just in case the guy could have been in there?
Yeah, it's really scary.
Then later in the afternoon, a builder in this new subdivision spotted the suspect.
He looked at me a few times, and I asked a couple of our crews if he was with them, and they said he wasn't. So I just walked over to my truck and drove away slowly. Went down to Providence Road, talked to the police officers, told them I think I see somebody that met that description. And I said, hold your cars back. 4 of you jump in my truck. And so 4 of them laid in the back of my truck. We drove down Hemby Road, and he was walking right down Hemby Road. I pulled up right next to him and said, jump, and they all jumped out. He had about a 20-yard lead, and they're chasing him through the trees right now.
Police are looking for a black male believed to be in his early 20s. He was last seen wearing a white cap and tan shirt. Now, the other man that is in custody at this hour has not yet been identified. Reporting live from Weddington, Joey Pop, 6 News.
He is still not in class. A student has failed to come to school this week, even after police took his mother to jail for his truancy. 6 News reporter Joey Pop is following this story today. He joins us live from the newsroom. Joey.
Well, Cara, that's right. If a youngster or teen up to age 16 fails to attend, it's your problem, the parent. A Charlotte mother knows firsthand.
Parent Julie Summers was released from jail Thursday night after being brought in for failing to appear in court. In March, she was ordered before a judge to answer to the state's student attendance law. Her 8th grader has missed 51 days this year at Hawthorne Traditional Middle School. Even after her arrest, he hasn't returned.
We try to use every measure that we can to get the student in school.
When that doesn't work, the law steps in.
This is an issue that's hard for students who have nearly perfect attendance to accept and understand. We met one of those students today at Hawthorne.
I think that's sad and that it's very careless, and it makes me become very grateful that my parents, made sure that I got to school every day.
Latier has only missed 1 day in her school career. Students like her are rewarded with weekly and quarterly attendance certificates.
We try to make school a exciting place to be.
That message apparently doesn't reach all students. Now, we could not reach Julie Summers today to ask her what the problem is, but a classmate of her son's has heard him make excuses for not coming to school. Reporting live from the newsroom, Joey Pop, 6 News.
A student under the age of 16 fails to go to school, and his mother ends up in jail. And what's worse, the teenager still didn't show up for class today. Joey Pop has the story.
Hawthorne Traditional Middle School rewards students for attending school. Certificates are given out for perfect weekly and quarterly attendance.
We have quite a number of positive incentives for young people to come to school.
But when a student misses 10 consecutive days for no excuse, state law can kick in. Parent Julie Summers knows what can happen all too well. Records at Hawthorne show her 8th grader has missed 51 days, and he's continued to miss since her arrest this week.
The parent was brought to jail after failing to appear in court on the original charge in March.
6 News tried to reach the parent after her release to find out what's wrong. A fellow schoolmate of her son says he's made excuses for not coming to school this year. That's hard for some students to understand, especially students with good attendance.
I think that is very serious, and the only way that your child or children can be successful is if they come to school. I mean, you can't learn anything if you're not here.
Is this parent subject to being arrested again since the student has been missing school since the original charge?
I would think so if the youngster doesn't start attending school the way he's supposed to.
Reporting from Hawthorne Traditional Middle School, Joey Pop, 6 News.
You're watching NBC 6. Live from NBC 6, Charlotte. This is 6 News at 6.
An arrest is made 2 months after the murder of Kim Medlin. Tonight, her husband and other family members speak out. Good evening. A Maroon police officer is accused of murdering the 26-year-old woman, and for some time, there had been rumors in Monroe that Officer Josh Griffin would be arrested. That happened yesterday, and the victim's family is relieved but still very hurt tonight. 6 News reporter Joey Pop joins us from Union County, where Kim's body was found Easter Sunday.
Sterling, you see that cross back here? That marks the spot where her body was found and where authorities believe Officer Josh Griffin dumped Kim's body after killing her. Well, now her family wants to know that question, why?
The thought that keeps going through my head is that my wife was brutally murdered for obeying the law.
Kim Medlin had told family she would never stop late at night for anybody except a police officer. Her Jeep's engine was found still running the night she disappeared after returning from her Charlotte cocktail waitress job. Now police point the finger at one of their own, Officer Josh Griffin.
For a person in that position to have been arrested for doing this to Kim is the biggest letdown in the world.
6 News tried to contact Griffin's mother and twin brother at the home where the arrest was made late Friday afternoon. Nobody came to the door, but a supportive neighbor spoke up.
Disbelief. I just can't believe that they would arrest Josh because he just appears to be a down-to-earth, fine young man.
There's no question from the Medlin family that authorities arrested the right man.
She didn't know him, but he knew her by seeing her. She was just like a butterfly going around getting things to fix up the new house, and anybody could see her.
Do you believe that he targeted her?
I do. I believe it just as sure as I'm sitting here.
That's my question, is why? I don't want to know how. I don't think I could tolerate the gruesome facts. But I want to know why.
Lust? I don't know. Kim didn't know this guy. I didn't know him. But evidently, somehow, he knew of her.
Griffin is behind bars in Raleigh's Central Prison, police say for his own protection. Josh Griffin is expected to return to Monroe Tuesday to face a judge during a first court appearance. Now that the arrest is made 2 months after the murder, Bridger Medlin just hopes his name is cleared.
No one has come forward and said, oh, by the way, on the record, Bridger is not a suspect now. Even after there's been an arrest, it's still not. And I've had to go through all of this. That's been one of the hardest things.
I also talked with Kim's mom. She's not ready to go on camera, but she certainly wants to be heard too. She's glad an arrest has been made. She says she misses her daughter and her best friend. However, she's disappointed she hasn't heard from authorities firsthand. Reporting live from Union County, Joey, Pop 6 News.
A brother and sister are dead after a tragic accident on Highway 16. Good evening. The adult siblings, along with 2 others, were returning home from a concert at Blockbuster Pavilion. In all, 8 people were involved in the 2-vehicle collision. 6 News reporter Joey Pop joins us from Carolinas Medical Center, where the victims are being treated tonight.
Sterling, first of all, there were 4 people in each vehicle, and 3 of the injured are still being treated here at Carolinas Medical. And at the same time, a family mourns the loss of a brother and sister.
Just north of Mountain Island Lake, where Highway 16 goes back to a 2-lane highway in Lucia, is where the deadly crash happened around midnight.
I heard that there was 2 cars involved.
People came by today to see the area firsthand, a stretch of road that's been troubled for years with accidents. Killed in this crash was driver 49-year-old Sandy Stone of Lincoln County. Her brother, 44-year-old Danny Caldwell, died a short time later.
They was on their way home, and my understanding, she had reached down to get her pocketbook, and when she looked back up, it happened.
The State Highway Patrol cannot confirm that information since the surviving passengers have not been questioned. But the investigating trooper says the Toyota crossed the center line and hit a southbound truck pulling a race car. The 4 people inside the truck were returning from this Lincoln County Speedway to Concord. While the people in the truck survived, 2 of the 4 in the Toyota did not.
Neighbors say they'll miss Sandy Stone. She lived here in this modest home in the community of Krause, outside of Lincolnton.
Stone was the mother of 1 daughter and worked at this convenience store. Her brother lived in Newton. Now their family mourns the loss. A brother and sister gone together.
It's tragic. It's really going to hurt everyone in the family.
Now, the 2 surviving passenger in Stone's vehicle are Randall Gann and Judy Pedlow. They're both in critical but stable condition here at the hospital. In that other vehicle, a truck, involved a Concord family and the teenage friend. The driver is Michael Price. He's listed in fair condition. His wife, daughter, and the daughter's friend have all been treated and released. Reporting live, Joey, Pop 6 News.
Police in Gaston County are using a gun that doesn't fire off bullets.
Instead, it fires a beanbag, and the county SWAT team used it for the first time yesterday. Joey Pop is in the newsroom with more. Joey?
Alicia, a beanbag bullet has been around for a while, but hasn't gotten much attention because, like in Gaston County's case, it's just been used for the first time. The lead pellet bag is small enough to pack into a 12-gauge shotgun shell. Yesterday, Gaston County SWAT team fired the non-life-threatening bullet at Michael Freilich. It stunned him, allowing police to arrest the man for shooting another person and then holding police at bay.
Trained in those situations, and each situation is different. When those situations present themselves and the officer is comfortable with that, then he makes that choice.
Not to say that this would be used every time.
Absolutely not. That's it is just an option, and it certainly may be considered each and every time. It may not be considered each and every time.
Now, you'll recall there have been incidents in the past where police have shot and killed suspects during standoffs. Coming up at 6, we'll show you what other agencies have available as options for deadly force. Reporting from the newsroom, Joey Pop 6 News.
Well, it may not be new to police, but have you ever heard of a beanbag bullet?
Several police departments are using them to avoid seriously injuring the life of a suspect. It's a weapon that is apparently safer and more effective. Joey Pop took a closer look at it today. He joins us from the newsroom with more. Joey?
Well, Alan, it may all boil down to choice. Yesterday, the Gaston County SWAT team felt comfortable with using the bag bean bullet during a police standoff. Well, today, that suspect is behind bars.
Gaston County SWAT team used an alternative to deadly force during Tuesday's standoff. Police believed Michael Freilich shot another man, so after he barricaded himself from authorities, an officer fired a beanbag bullet to stun Freilich to make the arrest.
It's definitely an option. From what I understand, they have to be at close range in order to use it.
Yes, it is an alternative. It's a less than lethal munition.
4 years ago, the SWAT team was criticized for shooting and killing an armed man during a standoff. Today, the lead pellet beanbag bullet can give an officer a choice when or when not to use deadly force.
Each situation is different. When those situations present themselves and the officer is comfortable with that, then he makes that choice.
Not to say that this would be used every time.
Absolutely not. That's it is just an option, and it certainly may be considered each and every time. It may not be considered each and every time.
Such non-life-threatening devices are being used with other agencies too, like Gastonia and Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police.
The small bag fits inside a shell and can be fired from a 12-gauge shotgun. Gaston County Police have had it for about a year. Gastonia Police say such a device has been available to them for about 4 years.
Now, yesterday's firing at a suspect is the first in Gaston County. No word yet from Charlotte Police if officers here have ever used such a device besides during training. Reporting live from the newsroom, Joey, Pop 6 News.
Good evening. Maybe it worked. It appears a Charlotte City ordinance chased away escort services from advertising.
Today's the deadline for the business often associated with prostitution to get ads placed in the new Yellow Pages. Well, so far, it appears nobody has come forth to place an ad. 6 News reporter Joey Pop joins us from police headquarters to explain why. Joey?
Alan, a police attorney tells me that not one escort service owner has come by to apply for a permit. Now, the new city ordinance requires that such businesses do so in order to get a license. If they don't have a license, they cannot advertise in the Yellow Pages. And just seconds away at 5 o'clock is the deadline. The current Charlotte Yellow Pages has 5 pages of escort service ads, but appears such an ad is history.
I was surprised that no one had applied.
You are surprised?
Yeah, it surprised me that they did not.
Why do you think that's the case?
Well, I really don't know. I don't know what their reason for that, but there's many of them that have advertised in the past why they wouldn't apply.
But this woman who runs an escort service says police have made it hard to get the permit.
I file my taxes, everything that they require, called to find out, what their requirements were, and was told pretty much they weren't going to help me set up an illegitimate service.
So you're telling me you called and inquired, but as far as going down in person, you did not do that?
No, I did not.
The woman who doesn't want to be identified says she'll stay in business even though she's counted on the Yellow Pages for 100% of her business. Will this get rid of you?
No.
How will you operate without advertising in the Yellow Pages?
Well, the girls are going to wind up on the street. They talk about lowering crime rate. This is not going to lower crime rate.
And officers from here want to get the word out that if escort businesses stay in business and if they do not advertise, they will certainly be looking for illegal activity on the streets. Reporting live from police headquarters, Joey, Pop 6 News.
The deadline has come and gone for escort services to place ads in the new Charlotte Yellow Pages. That means you won't see those ads come August. Joey Pop is live at police headquarters with an explanation. Joey?
Alan, clients of escort services, a business often associated with prostitution, soon won't let their fingers do the walking. That's because applications like this from the police department have not been filled out. A new city ordinance requires escort services to be registered with police before obtaining a license. If not, the business cannot advertise in the real Yellow Pages from Bell South.
There's many of them that have advertised in the past why they wouldn't apply.
But this woman who runs an escort service says police have harassed her and others from getting the permit. Have you gone down to get a permit to advertise in the Yellow Pages for the next edition?
No, I have not.
Why not?
Because several of my acquaintances have, and they have made them turn their phones off, denied them permits without any reason whatsoever.
That woman says she'll stay in business if it means she has to work underground and not able to openly advertise. In the meantime, police from here say that they will monitor illegal activity. That deadline, by the way, was at 5 o'clock. Reporting live from police headquarters, Joey Pop 6 News.
After South Carolina makes a plea arrangement with a confessed killer, the state tries the victim's wife. The state says she's just as guilty as the murderer, but she denies any wrongdoing. 6 News reporter Joey Pop joins us live from York County with this story. Joey?
Alan, Jason Cato was brutally beaten last August. He later died. Gary McCain has pled guilty to that murder, and he could get up to 30 years in prison. Now the state is going after McCain's alleged lover, Linda Cato, the wife of Jason Cato. Solicitor Tommy Pope believes the woman conspired with McCain to get rid of her husband and make it appear as a robbery while visiting a Rock Hill park. But Cato, who was there with the couple's young child, says she did not know McCain was going to attack her husband. Park witnesses told the stand today to tell the jury what they saw after the murder.
I noticed that there was a man and a lady that was leaving the scene.
And I hollered at him, you know, what did you do to that boy? At this point, he turned around, faced me, and said, I don't know what you're talking about. I hadn't done anything to him.
Other testimony today revealed that Cato drove to Kershaw to visit her mom after the killing instead of going to police first. Now, coming up at 6, a preview into what could be key testimony tomorrow from a key witness. Reporting live, Joey Pop 6 News.
Well, a York County woman is on trial for the murder of her husband. If she's found guilty, she'll be the second person convicted in the case. Joey Pop is live at the Moss Justice Center to explain. Joey?
Alan, the state made a plea arrangement with confessed killer Gary McCain. That happened yesterday. But now he could be the key witness who could land Linda Cato behind bars too. The state believes Linda Cato urged her alleged lover, Gary McCain, to strike her husband, Jason Cato, and make the attack appear as a robbery. The deadly assault happened last August in Rock Hill's Glen Cairn Gardens Park. A park visitor told the jury today she saw McCain and Cato leave the site together after the attack. The day before, Jason's boss saw them together too.
Well, he jumped away from the car, you know, and acted startled as I came out of the building, so that kind of concerned me, and he wouldn't look at me at all.
Linda Cato says she's not guilty in the murder or the conspiracy of murder. During a break today, family on both sides had little to say. How do you think it's going?
Just like that.
How do you think this is going?
Go on and leave it alone.
Now, we learned late this afternoon that the judge will allow a statement from Linda Cato to be read tomorrow by a detective. Also, as early as tomorrow, Gary McCain could take the stand to testify against Cato. In South Carolina, a person who participates in a murder can be convicted of murder, whether he or she physically commit the act. Reporting live, Joey Pop 6 News.
Well, the fate of a Rock Hill woman is in the hands of a jury.
Linda Cato's former lover has already pleaded guilty to killing Cato's husband, but under the law, she could also be convicted of murder. 6 News reporter Joey Pop joins us live from York County now with more.
Sterling, inside the courthouse, a 21-year-old woman waits to see if that jury will convict or acquit her in the death of her husband. Co-defendant Linda Cato declined taking the stand to testify. She's being tried for the murder of her husband, even though she did not physically commit the act. This man, Gary McCain, says he attacked Jason Cato after being encouraged by lover Linda Cato.
I want the truth to let people know that I didn't have this plan all by myself. She had a lot to do with this. She planned it. She pushed buttons. She know how to get me upset, and the plan went through.
Testimony revealed Cato drove McCain to Kershaw after he attacked the husband with a tire jack handle. In closing arguments, the state said Cato is as guilty as McCain.
The hand of one is the hand of all. The acts of one are the acts of all.
But Cato's attorney told the jury she did not know McCain was going to attack Jason in front of his own child last August in this Rock Hill park. Now, the jury's been deliberating for about an hour and a half. In between that time, Gary McCain was sentenced to 30 years. You recall, he did plead guilty earlier this week. He now will be taken to prison. Before he left the courthouse, though, he turned to Jason Cato's family and apologized. Reporting live from York County, Joey Pop 6 News.
So what does it take to be on Charlotte's new Citizens Review Board?
6 News reporter Joey Pop is live from police headquarters with a look at that. Joey?
Well, Alicia, you'll recall the issue was born as a result of controversial police shootings in the past. So if you want to be on this board, what does it take? We'll be prepared to do a little training, some here from the police headquarters and some at the training academy. The reason to understand the action of police. First off, all applicants must not have a criminal record and need to be registered voters in Mecklenburg County. If selected, they'll see how police are trained.
We're exposing them to what the officer goes through, and we feel it's very important that they understand that.
Every board member must complete an 8-week course on police procedures, including a visit to the Academy's shooting simulator. If you wonder such exposure could brainwash the group, police and the city view it differently.
And one of the things that this group will have to do is evaluate those procedures. So you have to learn what they are in order to comment on them. And I think that that's very appropriate.
There are certain legal constraints, there's training considerations that whoever's judging officers' actions can't just judge that in a vacuum. They need to understand the context of the officer's actions.
So far, about 24 applications.
0 jurors determined that.
Now, for the story Charlotte Hornet fans are holding their breath over. Will Muggsy Bogues ever take the court again in a Hornets uniform or leave due to injury? 6 News reporter Joey Pop joins us from the newsroom with a look at this city's all-time favorite point guard. Joey?
Alan, this story is taking a dramatic twist. We heard Muggsy late this afternoon use the word lawsuit. He says he knows his body, and if he leaves the Hornets, it may not be because of retirement.
2 teams will be Charlotte, North Carolina, and
when the Hornets
Miami,
debuted, Muggsy Bogues was there.
It's a great day, starting off with the new franchise team and getting it on to its beginning.
Now fans wonder, 9 years later, if the last playoff game was the last time to see Muggsy Bogues in a Hornet uniform. We found a disturbed Muggsy today in Winston-Salem.
There's a purpose behind this, you know, there's a reason why they constantly keep telling me that I should retire. I know my body better than anyone. If that's what they believe that I should do, then they should just waive me.
The team says it will wait for a second opinion on a recent physical.
But I would say this, make this statement. If another player were to come in here to Charlotte and would take a physical, and Dr. Perry would see the same damage, we would not pass it. He wouldn't be able to pass a physical for the Charlotte Hornets.
Muggsy Bogues is one of 2 original Hornets. Del Curry is the other.
Everybody in here should be old enough to know right from wrong.
We found Del helping out at the Hornets summer camp while Muggsy was out of town.
And you better believe at such a basketball camp, a lot of these young people look up to Muggsy Bogues.
I think he's a great player.
Why do you like Muggsy?
Because he is a little basketball player and he's real good.
That's right, Ross Hughes. Muggsy may be the NBA's biggest little man on the court, but perhaps off the court, too, with his service to the community. We found him in March helping refurbish this dilapidated home.
Muggsy gets by far and away the most Make-A-Wish Foundation requests. He'll never turn anybody, anything down. And basically, when George Shinn brought the franchise to the area, a major part of it was his players be involved in community service. Well, Muggsy basically epitomizes, that.
Muggsy Bogues is in Winston finishing up his degree at Wake Forest University. He's expected to graduate this summer. Whether he retires, returns, or is waived, Muggsy's putting his education first during the offseason. Reporting from the newsroom, Joey Pop, 6 News.